All righty. Here we go. Oh my goodness, we have a picture, but do we have sound? Somebody can let me know if we've got some sound. Okay, sound is good. Yes. All right. I got to get used to the delay again. Wow, it's as my kids would say, it's been a minute. So, hi to everyone. I wish I had the same setup that I used to have where I could be talking to you and it's not my hands, but you're actually would be talking to me. But maybe we'll try it at the end. I can flip the camera around or something. But I don't use the same system as I used to when I was doing this. As I said to my husband, I can't believe I used to do this 3 times a week. Oh my goodness. But welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me on your first day of 2023. My husband is down watching football. Trevor's doing whatever. Sarah's up at her boyfriend. So it's chances are we won't have the parade of pets, but Trevor is in the house, so one never knows. He could pop up. He's not having a great day, so he could pop up to get some cat loves because the cats tend to hang out here in my studio with me. So wow, it's I feel kind of feels strange, even though we've been doing this for so long. But I'm so excited to have you here. I'm kind of just going to chat here for just a few minutes here in the beginning to let people get logged in. I'm kind of unnerved because everything went smoothly. I didn't have hiccups, knock on wood. So we'll cross our fingers and hope that it continues that way. I hope to be able to do some live streams every so often still. A while back, I kind of finally got people to say, yeah, we'd like the videos because we end up not making it to the streams anyway. So we end up watching the videos. So it makes tons more sense personally to me to be doing the videos then rather than the lives. I just appreciate you guys all joining in and being here and being supportive. There's so many, so many more options available out there these days. I would say one of the positive things that did come out of the pandemic is that it did allow for all of the online teaching platforms to just explode. They'll all kind of settle out as time goes on, but the options available are so much greater than they used to be. As I have said to a few people, back in the dark ages of online streaming and classes, when myself and it was Marion Smith and Catherine Krieger and myself were the kind of the first 3 of the paper crafters to start doing the live streaming. And we were using Ustream back in those days. I don't even know if Ustream still exists, to be perfectly honest. But we would do that. And those of you who've been around for a while, if you recall, because of my phone line was connected with the internet stuff, that if my phone would ring, we'd get booted out of Ustream and we'd have to log all back in and everything. It was crazy. The parade of pets when my kids were little, and you guys got to see, the hamsters, the rats, the what was the name Pinecone? What was she? Ferret. The ferret, all the cats we've had over the years, the dogs, you name it, you guys all got to see it. And now at this point, Sarah is 22. She works for the women's clothing store, Aritzia. It's out of Canada. She's doing extremely well. She's got a big raise just before Christmas, and potentially moving into a different position now here after the first of the year. While she's also going to school, getting her degree in marketing. And Trevor is also in school, working on a degree in history. I know more about historical events than I ever learned in any history classes. So he's getting his degree in history, and at this point planning to go on to law school. So he's just taking it in his own pace, which is the way to go. Struggling with a few things, but he's getting there, and extremely, extremely proud of how he's doing. My husband just retired after 44 years at Boeing at the end of November. Wasn't really planning to retire for another 3 years, but circumstances having to do with his pension and some, I don't really understand it, but he would have lost money on his pension to stay. So like 500 Boeing engineers retired, 1,600 engineers at like Ford Motors retired because of, it's something to do with the interest rates and stuff to where it would change. But he may still go back on a contractor basis, as he wasn't quite planning, just with 2 kids in college, to retire just yet. But he's kind of liking it. He's skiing and golfing and bowling almost every day. So he's enjoying retirement, which is great. Makes me a little nervous, but we'll be good. And me, I'm just, tripping in and out of my black hole of creativity every so often. But I just keep fighting, and we'll get through it all. So, anyway, so it looks like we have a good little crowd here. So let me read the chat for a minute. And one thing that's nice now with doing these things on YouTube Live, is it does record the chat. And so the chat is part of the recording when you get to watch it back. Oh, yes, Jeannie. Mimi's been gone for several years now. We're down to just Allie, or Alieska, our golden retriever. She's down to one eye. She's got glaucoma, so she's down to one eye. She's getting up there. She's 11 now, so she's not going to probably be with us a whole lot longer. And then we have Tucker, who we got in 2018 because Sarah was promised that she could get a dog when Trevor was done with travel hockey. And of course, he's my husband's dog, so not Sarah's. But he was supposed to be 2. He's older than that, so he's getting a little white in the face. So we'll not sure how long he will be with us, but he's still pretty young and spry. And then we're down to 3 cats. We have Tigger, who was Pepper, my cat's brother. We lost Pepper a few years back. She threw a clot and died suddenly. That was horrifying. And then we have Patches, who's been around. She's getting up there. She's like 13, 14 now. Sarah's cat does not like it when Sarah's away from home working. So she's not a happy camper right now because Sarah's been gone for a few days. And then we have Salem, who is now just over 2. He is my little black cat, scared of everything, including his own shadow. So, but Salem and Tigger tend to hang out here in my studio. They just let me share it with them. I did a studio tour this morning over on Instagram, and I'll probably post it. I'll try to post it over on YouTube later today as well. But it has both cats and Tucker in it as well, because this is where they hang out. And then I have the couch, which is my therapy couch, as I called it, because all 3 family members still, because both kids are still, while they're going to school, they're doing online school and they're still living here at home. So, they tag team coming in. My husband comes in, he leaves 5 minutes. I get focused in. The next one comes in 5 minutes. I get focused in, and then on the next one, and then it starts a cycle all over again. So, that's why I have the couch in here so they can hang out in here, but can be disruptive trying to focus. So, but wow, it's just, yeah, Christine, seeing that your youngest son is now almost done with school. It's frightening how quickly the time has gone by. When I started doing this, the kids were 9 and 11. So, yeah, so 22 and 24. Trevor will be 25 in March. Hard to believe. It's just crazy. Oh, 6 years in the Air Force. And I appreciate his service. And my father was Air Force. So I love to hear about people having served in the Air Force. It's where I spent the first 12 years of my life was as an Air Force brat. So, but yeah, I am, a few more gray hairs, a few more aches and pains, though that's getting better. The one thing that went super positive for me in 2022 is in the summer, I decided, I got to get some of this weight off. The stress of just everything that's gone on. As many of you know, I started doing the paper crafting when Trevor was diagnosed with his anxiety disorder, as he calls it, diet autism, because he's just on the fringe of the spectrum, and he's got depression, and now he's been diagnosed with ADHD as well. So, he's got this full spectrum of stuff that he deals with. And I can talk about it now because he's given me permission to do so. Back when we were in the thick of it, I didn't talk about it much because he was still a minor and it's not my story. But he's given me permission since then to talk about it and be more open about it all. So, but that's how I got started in paper crafting, is when he was diagnosed. And there were some times that you all didn't know it, but we were going through some stuff. So, and I think just the letdown of all of that, it's been a wild ride since then. So, anyway, this is, we're going to have a happy day today. So, what we're going to be working on today, now that I've chatted for long enough, for those of you who know me, I'm quite long-winded. So I talk too much. So, even though I haven't done it for a while, but it feels good to just, have people to chat with again. So, but what we're going to work on today is taking something from all those many moons ago, from 2010, when I introduced Stack the Deck. Excuse me, I can't believe it's really quite, let me grab that book real quick. It's been quite that long. I meant to grab this earlier, but this is the original Stack the Deck, where we used, and I have all those things here, where we used the original Stack the Deck binding, where it was U-shaped pieces of the cardstock stacked on top of each other. You guys have no idea how long I lamented about what to call it. And then it was like, well, Stack the Deck, it sounds like I should live in Vegas or something. So I struggled with the name. I also struggled with the spacing, the 1/4 inch spacing and stuff. So, but it's been fun over the years, seeing it become somewhat of an iconic binding used in bookmaking and albums. And I'm pretty proud of it. It's had its ups and downs over the years, as everything does, but it has kind of won the test of time. So, based on this, I then incorporated this kind of stacking type of thing into creating a way of, with this, the pages are separated and that sort of thing, because with album type books, you generally have page and, elements on each page. This one has pockets, so it has elements that pull out of the pockets, that sort of thing. But as I've moved more towards the direction of journaling, with all of this, if you recall, so many times, especially in my books, I didn't put that many pictures in them, mainly because I was using them as tools for teaching, and I didn't put photos. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not real big on taking photos like I should. We just had Christmas. I didn't take a single picture all Christmas. And my mom is 91. We don't know how many more Christmases she's going to have with us. And you'd think, oh my God, I need to take a bunch of pictures. But did I? Of course not. It doesn't, hit my brain to take the pictures, which it should. And I will get better. But how many of us made all these books and we love these books, but they don't have pictures in them? Well, you can do the exact same thing. You can use the exact same tutorials, all these 100 and some odd tutorials that I have available. You can use those books rather than to put photos in them, but you can do them in a more journaling style. And to be perfectly honest, especially when you look through something like this, we were doing way back, exactly what a lot of people are doing now. Turning things into, little. Here we got little flaps. We got, a little tuck spot. We've got little tags behind things, places to write stuff. We just have some spaces to where you could put photos, which you still can do. Even in a journal, you could put photos. But you may not have realized it, but we were doing back in these dark ages when I did this one, we were doing essentially what everybody's still doing right now. They're just doing a lot of what's really popular right now is they're just doing it with a lot more paint and such. But you don't have to do paint. If you don't want to do paint, don't do paint. You can do the same sorts of things that we used to do back in 2010, in 2023. Look at that. How's that? I actually had the date right even. So, but what we're going to be doing with today's project is that we took this old binding method and I turned it into something similar with little tabs on it so that we can add, whether you want to put in pages, like this first page is, it's basically a pocket, or to put in signatures, which have a variety of papers. Call it, just art journal, junk journal, whatever you want to call it, and whatever you want to put in it. That's the beauty of the way bookmaking, and that's what I've tried to turn things, the terminology that I use, instead of calling it albums and journals, I'm leaning more towards we're just bookmaking. Again, it sounds like I should be in Vegas, but not that kind of bookmaking. But we're making books. Now, I do have a tutorial for how to assemble this book because that's not what we're going to be doing today. What we're going to be doing today is just decorating a couple of pages because that allows us opportunity to chat a little bit more and less about making sure the numbers are all correct and all that kind of thing. So I do have the tutorial available for this. And I have joined the rest of the crowd, so to speak, and joined in on some of the teaching platforms that are available now rather than just through my website. It's essentially what my paid tutorials on my website is. It's basically exactly like that, where you get a downloadable supply sheet and cutting, and then you have video tutorials, and it's broken up into sections. So I was originally on the Teachable platform, but then literally a week after my 30-day 30 days to get a refund, literally a week after that 30 days was up, they changed the one that they have different levels that you can sign up for, and there's different costs involved. But literally a week after which had, it was perfect. It had everything I needed, and it was unlimited number of courses that you could have available on it. Well, then they switched it to where you could only have 5. Well, I had far more than 5 planned for 2023. Plus, I was planning to move some of my stuff from my website onto it. And so I went through a lot of back and forth with Teachable about it. And basically, it just came down to, well, it's in our terms of use, tough, can do this. So I was like, well, I don't think I want to stay on Teachable. So I have moved over to a platform called Podia, Podia. They have been uber helpful, uber friendly. I am happy as a clam. Similar format, it's a little bit different, so it's a little bit different learning curve, but I'm figuring it out. So the course for this, the videos and all that is over on that, and it's lauradenisondesigns.podia, Podia.com. There's a link on Facebook. There's a link on Instagram on how to get there. And I will be moving all of my Teachable courses onto Podia in this coming year. I just have 2 over there right now. My free one on a paper bag album, and my Every Trick in the Book 6-month-long course, which I'm about a month behind on because of all of this stuff happening, and it just threw me into a creative black hole again. But I'm out of it, working my way out of it, and I'm getting caught up basically this week on that. And that one's still available over there, but I'm not going to move that one till it's over with in March, and I'll move it over. But you can still sign up for it, and I'll be walking everybody through the process of moving over to Podia when I'm ready to do that with that course. But you can right now over on Podia get the instructions for doing this book, and I show you how to do the binding in the way that I do it for this book. And I also show you, this is kind of I spit on myself. This is kind of a different way of doing signatures with single pages rather than folded pages, but you can use traditional signatures as well. Let me grab it. More traditional signature. See, like a traditional signature, they're all folded. This one's not attached down, and the papers all fit, and then it's like it mirrors from the one page or one half to the other half. Many times they're stitched. I also do them stapled and tied, and all sorts of different ways that you can do them. But the more traditional signature, you can do those. You can put in pages, any pages that I've made over the years would work just fine. Anything for original Stack the Deck would work just fine. You can slip it over the tabs, or you can have the tabs on the outside. It's perfectly fine to do that. Or you can mix them like I've done in this. So this is essentially a pocket page, and then I've got 3 signatures and another pocket page. And in the tutorial, I show you how to do it with an even number, or in this case, 4 units, page units or signature units. Or, so this one has 5, so you can do it in 4 or 5. This small one that I've shown 2, this one has 4 in it. And the binding itself is constructed ever so slightly differently for the odd number versus the even number. If you recall with Stack the Deck, it was typically an odd number or an even number. And then when I started doing T-square binding and stuff, I went to more of an odd number of pages. So so I gave you the instructions for doing 4 or for 5. And I decided, since my original Stack the Deck was a mini book, I thought it was appropriate that the ones that I would do for class were also mini books. Now, I will eventually, the part of the issue I have with doing signature type journal books is look how many pages there are. You know, I have 6 pages and I struggle to get them all done in a timely fashion because I have far too many books going. But look at all these pages. So I will eventually get them done. But you also, the big thing is you don't have to decorate in a journal absolutely to the nines every single page. You can leave some rest space. Maybe I do something on the edge of something like this, and you can put some writing there. You can put some quotes there. You can put photos in there. You can put in a journal absolutely anything that you want to. And so, and I'm not reading the chat. So if you guys are telling me things that I'm missing, let me peek just real quick. All right. So sorry. Okay. I just had to catch up on the chat. I'm not used to having to look up at the chat these days. So anyway, but you can do in a journal anything you want to do. But then I've kind of been telling that to you guys since 2009 when I started, even in a mini book. You can do anything you want in the books too. So if you like the methods, the original Stack the Deck and pages, absolutely 100%. Go for that. If you like the idea of some sort of a junk journal, you can do that too. That's the beauty of things right now, is there's so much out there. There's so much information. There's so many examples. There's just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff to see. I mean, it gets completely overwhelming on YouTube anymore. It's just like, there's just too much stuff there. And I usually end up getting ticked off because somebody's claiming something that, anyway, we're not going down that road. But I just, I like the thing about doing books right now is that you can do whatever you want. You can use any kind of papers you want. You can even use, great way to use up some of your scraps and stuff. So like, for instance, in this book alone, I have a commercial printed scrapbooking paper. This is Craft O'Clock, which I think is out of Poland. I go up to Vancouver. My favorite paper crafting. Well, there's one not far from me. It's about an hour away from me. And I think that's kind of the main one that I have in Western Washington. But she's a small shop, delightful woman, carries incredible variety for as small as she is of stuff. But my favorite scrapbooking paper crafting store is just over the border in Langley, which is a suburb of Vancouver. And I go up there. And the beauty of the stuff in Canada is they carry a lot of stuff that's different. So I'm not sure where to get Craft O'Clock here in the US, but I get it up in Canada at Clipper Street. So, and there's a couple of shops, the one in Clipper Street in Vancouver, and then, and it just went out of paper. Oh God, what's their name? In Calgary. Pre-pandemic, I was supposed to teach up there and we haven't reset it up again. And I just went out of Paper and Ink Boutique in Calgary. So if any Canadians, both of those shops are amazing and they do mail order. So, but in this book alone, I have some scrapbooking paper, some vintage paper, book paper, which I've had to, because vintage paper can be really delicate, you do need to reinforce the fold. This is pastel paper. This is some of my digital papers. And again, another pastel paper. So you can use printed papers. I just recommend, if you're going to use wet media on them, that you do fix them with some sort of spray fix or hairspray. Then I have some craft paper that I've done some stuff on too. Here's an envelope, a tea-dyed check thing, another printed paper. So, you can put pretty much anything you want in there. Here's some vintage paper from an 18-something ledger. Anything goes as to what you want to put in your collection of papers. This one, I just went with just cardstock, because this one, I think I want to play more artsy-fartsy in it. So I got an envelope in there to put tags in. So I put in a little bit heavier weight, mixed media weight papers in here, because I want to play with doing more art journaling type stuff in there. And holy schmoly, when you start dipping your toe down the art journaling path, Sounds like you you spend a lot of time in the art supply stores, that sort of thing. So, and this one I'm also incorporating some pattern paper, and again, this is a craft o'clock one. So, you know, that's the beauty of doing these journalings is you can do you can do the whatever you want in them. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. So the name of the store near me, and it's going. See, this is where my age is showing. No, I used to do this 15 years ago too. Is remembering. I'm terrible with names. I can picture it. I can see it in my head. It's in Edmonds. If you're here, there's no way I can pronounce it. It starts Maohi. It's up in Edmonds. Urban Paper Crafter. That's the one. So, and she's near me. There's another one way down in Oregon that I want to go down to. I am teaching at Art and Soul Retreat in April down in Portland. And I'm teaching a book. I'm teaching dolls. I'm teaching a quilted purse. And I'm teaching a 2 books, the dolls, 3 books. No, the doll book, my 3 sisters journal, another journal, my dolls, and a quilted purse are what I'm teaching down there. But the shop that's just about 2 hours south of Portland in Salem is doing a shop there. So I want to go find out what all they have, because based on what I've looked at, Woo Doggy, it looks like it's a little bit further drive, but I don't mind going down to but that's about 4.5 hours down to Salem. But there's plenty of stuff that I would love to do in Portland too. So I love Portland. I went to school in Eugene, so I'm familiar with that area. So, and Portland has a few more mixed media type stores, and then I love hitting the antique stores and stuff for vintage books, all that kind of stuff. So, we don't have great selection here, but you know, I'm old school. I want to look at it and see it and choose it rather than order it online. And I spend more time trying to figure out where I can go buy it than I do if I just bought it and had it shipped to me. It would be here faster. My daughter just shakes her head at me. It's like, Mom, you really need to get with it. So, oh, you're in Lakewood. Yeah. So it's up north in Edmonds. And it's right on the main, if you're going to the Edmonds Ferry, it's right on the way. If you're come off of I-5 and head towards the ferry, that whatever exit it is for the Edmonds Ferry, that's the exit you take. And you go a couple miles and there's going to be a Starbucks on the right and they're on the left. So if you're coming up north, it's worth the trip up there. So I used to go down to Lakewood all the time for a quilt store years ago. Nettie says, you've been with YouTube since 2008 and you were one of the first I started to follow. Didn't think it would be forever. I know it kind of feels that way, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, wow. Yeah, because I started with paper in April of 2009. And I did my first video, I want to say it was in May, maybe June. And then I know Marion started the first streams in November. Catherine did one in December, and I started in January. And I did my My Guy album was the first book I did. And then the next thing I did is I did a color class. Oh, I just cringe when I go watch some of those. Absolutely, honest to goodness, cringe. One of my plans in 2023 is to do another color class, though there's 5 million of them out there. But I'd love to do another color class. If there's anything, other kinds of topics people are interested in, let me know. I'm still, by the way, too, I'm just going to make one little statement and then we're going to move on from this. I did send out a newsletter a couple months ago talking about trying to have all the past stuff completed by the end of the year. And I was on track for that until I fell back into a black hole in November. So I'm getting close on a couple of the projects, super close on at least one. So those are definitely a high focus to be completing here early in 2023. So again, I've talked about this 5 million times. I've wrote about it 5 million times. And I still appreciate it, how patient everybody's being through all of this. So, and then I'm just going to leave it at that. But I am running a bit behind with the hiccups and bumps and stuff that come along the road of life. So, and when the creative juice inside yourself flat says, yeah, ain't happening. It's hard to push yourself past that. So, people who've given me the analogy, well, I'd go to my job every day and I get my stuff done. Well, I do too, but it sometimes doesn't always come out of me. So anyway, yeah. Well, and anybody who has any of your children who have had special needs, those special needs don't go away when your child becomes an adult. So, and we'll leave it at that. And I have never watched on a TV, so I am not sure how that works. So probably has to do with orientation or something. I'm not really, anybody who watches on a TV, if you can give Jeannie some help, that would be awesome and greatly appreciated. So, okay. So I have managed to chat for half an hour without really getting much talked about what we're doing in class here. But you guys are also, if you've been around for a while, you know that I can ramble with the best of them. So, all right. So my thinking is, my plan is to do a page or so in this little cute little book with this little fairy paper in it. And let me just show you some of this stuff in there. This has, I have a 6x6 pad, and then I have one of these kind of journal pad things. And this, like I said, it's Craft O'Clock. They call this album junk journal set. So it has things like pockets and such. I'm not really sure what those are. Those are a bit confusing. I recognize these graphics because I've used these on some of my own graphic papers. And I had planned to put I had planned, and I'm still planning to eventually do some of these kind of packs like this. So these have all sorts of pockets and cut aparts, and on the back it's pattern paper, some little tuck spots, that sort of thing, little envelopes. And then some little cutout things. And my plan is to do some things like this in the future. And then it's got little cards. And it's got 2 of every sheet in it. So these I've cut apart. I've cut everything out of the one half of them so that then out of the other half, I can use these pattern papers. And then I have a 6x6 pad. It's got the different, but one of my other papers, I've used some of these same floral graphics. We got them at the same place, I guess. Though I'm starting now to be painting my own graphics rather than the florals and stuff that I purchased for my digitals. So my digitals, you won't be running into that sort of thing in the future. And then in this one, the papers, it's another, like I said, it's another one of the Craft O'Clock where I have some 12x12. And it also has one of these cool packs of the pockets and such. Because that's what I did on these pockets. But I do, like I said, on this one, I want to incorporate a little bit more of painting type stuff and such. So what my thinking is we'll do a couple of pages in this one, and then I was thinking maybe we'll work on the cover if we still have some time on this one. But I just felt that this getting together for New Year's was more just a little bit of nostalgia, and also just a lot of bit of wanting to just get together with all of y'all again. So I don't know how many. Oh, we have 33 here now. So I remember, back in the day, when we used to do those big scrap bashes, we'd have like 1,000+ people, but I was also giving away a lot of stuff. So I knew that was a massive amount of draw for a lot of people, was having the freebies. I'm not doing the freebies today, so I apologize on that. But I just thought this was a good idea. After we've taken like 4 years off since we've done a New Year's. So I just thought it would be a fun way for people to get together and be able to chat a little bit. I know that about 2 to 3 times as many who show up for the lives will be watching the video as well. So welcome to all of those people who are watching the video. Though just watching me just chitter chatter is, I don't quite get why people want to do that, but hey, it's more about the sense of community and getting to know everybody and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to start working while I just chatter away. So first off, too, I also want to thank Pam. Oh my God! First off, I wouldn't be alive today, I swear, without Pam to be there for me. So she's been my rock. But I'd like to thank Pam for helping to mod today. Also, Lois, dear sweet Lois, love you to death. Thank you also to you for helping mod today, and then also for Christine, or Chris Craft, as she's now referred to on YouTube. So thank you to the 3 of you for helping to mod. I don't anticipate we will have any issues. We haven't had issues in a very long time when it comes to having to boot people, things like that, like we used to in years past. So, over the years, we've had trolls come in, we've had competitors come in trying to disrupt things. But my favorite is still was when we all got catfished years ago. God, that one I still find rather humorous. So, yeah, no, it gets not crazy. That's what friends are for. That's true. So. I'm assuming you mean, am I still doing my Friday shows? I haven't been doing my Friday shows for a very, very long time. Let me just start thumbing through stuff here. I also have my scrap box of... See, I also have my basket with all of my... There's fabric scraps and paper scraps. I have a whole cart that's just devoted to scraps and stuff for doing this sort of thing. So I just want to get some of that stuff out so that I can work, like I said, while I chat and chatter. So but no, I haven't been doing the live shows much in recent years. For one was because a lot of people prefer doing they prefer the videos. The lives, as obviously would be a challenge, just because of everybody is around the world, and it's challenging to get the timing right. And, it's even challenging here in the U.S. with me being on the West Coast And, the majority of you are, here in North America, because we'll include Canada, we're scattered across multiple time zones. And then you throw in Europe, which is 8 or 9 hours ahead of me. And then there's Australia, New Zealand. And I have no idea what time it is in Australia or New Zealand right now. I think it's even more. But I don't remember if it's like the time, if it's like in the middle of the night, super early in the morning. But I just know that in Australia, it's like tomorrow or something. So it's like, it just kind of warps my brain a little bit, trying to figure all of that stuff out. So I'm just grabbing some stuff. That kind of goes with it. I want to make it be a little pocket back behind, but I don't want to cover that. Let's see, how can we do all that? Well, I can do that, and then I can put one of these other pockets on there. Okay, I still talk to myself. So if you're new to me, this is not anything unusual here to have me just kind of chit chat with myself. Yeah, y'all can go look at my video from this morning that I did of my studio, and just be rest assured, by this evening, it will not be quite as tidy still. So I did that, because this one I want to fold it in half and do it over a page. I can do that. Okay. So I also am far less precise, than I used to be. I still use my cutter, but I'm also not afraid to do that. It's like, let's just cut the paper. It's still going to hang out a little too far, so. Okay, so then I can attach that on, and I can make that into a little pocket. And then I'm going to cover over some of the green stuff. I mean, I still ink my edges just because I still have an aversion to that bright white edge. So, Australia's on Monday morning already. That's what I said. I think it's the next day, but I don't remember exactly timing-wise where it all is. So, yeah, I thought it was like super huge number, Lois, like 18 hours or something, and crazy like that. So all I know is over all these years, we've had people from around the world, quite literally, pretty much every continent but Antarctica has been represented in our chats on this show. And that has been, I think that's been the part that has been so heartwarming and moving and humbling for me, is having people show up from around the world. It will always amaze me. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue. I meant to get glue the other day, and I didn't, so we'll see. Story of my life. I'm always running out of glue. And it's always plugged when I do a live show. It rarely plugs up that I'm aware of. At least it seems like when I am doing a sitting here working with just the cats here with me. Come on, guys. Oh, they're sleeping. I'm just going to say, speak up, guys, and tell them that I don't have this problem when I'm here by myself. So as a result, all of my poke tools have glue on them. Okay, I'm putting the glue on here so that I get it so it's not too tall, and it goes down about 1/2 inch from the So then I'm going to do this guy on the bottom. Just pop that pepper on there. Yeah, I just ink my edges. It's just habit for me. I almost busted out the other day. I almost busted out. Remember the little finger, before I started using, these things, the sponge applicators. Remember I used to use the little finger applicator things all the time, and I swore by those. And then I kind of have switched up. So that works perfectly with that. See, so that becomes a cute little pocket that, little things can go in. I won't put the little things in just yet, but see, so we can put little stuff in there. So anyway, but that made a cute little pocket, but then I don't like the solid green-like stuff on here. Sorry, I'm just reading. When I get quiet, it's because I'm reading. It's a reading and talking at the same time. My brain just doesn't quite assimilate doing both at the same time. So, but one of the things that, and you'll probably see me do it in here, is one of the things I've started doing more of is not just inking the edges, but I also use watercolor on the edges or ink or paint on the edges too. But I like my edges finished. Let's just put it that way. So, we can put some of this on there. This is done with the gel press. And I love using the gel press. Whenever I'm doing anything with some acrylic paint and stuff, I just have the gel press out and I just put extra paint on there and stuff. Sometimes using that as a palette. And then you just can take your pulls off of it. So this is just this is painting. It comes on a little roll for when you're doing painting. So the hardware store, you go to the painting section, and they got rolls. It comes in Crafton green in my hardware store that you can tape on. It's like cover over baseboards and stuff like that. So it's a little heavier than tissue, but definitely lighter than just paperweight. And so I do a lot of that on these because it works good for doing collage type stuff. So obviously, you're seeing me tearing, but you don't have to tear, you can cut if you prefer. But yeah, it comes in green and craft, like I said, in my hardware store, brain engaged. So okay, I haven't opened this in a few days. And I have a strained wrist right now. I pulled something down off of a shelf and my wrist kind of did a little pop thing. So I'm trying to add to it, but try to get this. Fortunately, it's my left wrist. Okay. Again, this opens perfectly when I have no problems, when nobody's here. But, as those of you who've been around know me, I'm real. It's not all perfect and practiced. There it is. It is, what you see is what you get. I don't do much other than just being real. So I'm just using some matte medium to glue this down with rather than gluing it, because I'm also going to put some other stuff over the top. So, you get the opportunity to be a little messy. I posted on my Instagram a while back that, you can be tidy, you can be messy. I wasn't really a lot of people took it as demeaning, whether I'm tidy or messy in my work surfaces and stuff. And it's like, no, I'm talking about how you do things. If you want everything lined up and cut straight and done that way, you're my girl. You're part of my quote unquote tribe, because I like things nice and tidy. But on occasion, I also like things to be a little messy. And it's just kind of become a bigger thing to be it's kind of the in look to do messy right now, which is kind of like what I'm doing right now. But by that, I also mean, a lot of it is about like taking thought out of it and that sort of thing. And I like to put a lot of thought into what I'm doing, try stuff out. It's like, decide if that's what I want, but I think the biggest point that I was trying to make with that post was more about do what works for you. If what works for you is everything to be all lined up and quote unquote perfect, but that makes you feel good and you're enjoying what you're doing by having things cut precisely and that sort of thing, then by all means, that's what you should be doing, is whatever it is that brings you the most joy in creating your artwork. It isn't about what you think you should be doing or that sort of thing. It's just what makes you feel the best about just feeling good of doing what you're doing. So you don't have to follow trends. You don't have to follow along with everybody else unless that's what you want to do. So my biggest point in all of that was just really, it's about just creating the joy in creating that it brings it to you. So it's totally fine to do if duplicating what myself or other teachers show you, by all means do that. If that brings you joy, that's totally fine. If you are happier cutting things perfectly straight and lined up and precise, then do that. And if you like just slapping stuff onto a page, do that. See, I'm trying to do this kind of thing right now because it's much more mindless than measuring and cutting. So I am doing more kind of messy and that sort of thing. So I've just taken and I did a piece of my gel printed, and then I took some tissue that will show as it dries. It's got lettering on it. And then I put some pieces, there's a piece of gauze and a little scrap of hand dyed. And then I'm going to pull up something in all of these little goodies that I can put. So we'll do a little thing with her, but I'm going to dry this real quick first. So it's more about doing what makes you feel fun. And Cheryl, it's not really even so much of letting go of the perfectionism, because I have issue with that word, because I've had that applied to me decades ago, of being a perfectionist. Perfectionism is when, personally, I don't think perfectionism, using that as it's kind of like it's a bad word, like it's bad to be a perfectionist, because I know in my deepest heart of soul, I am a perfectionist, and I know that. And I don't think it's a bad thing in all cases, but when your desire of something that needs to be perfect interferes with you being able to feel creative, and that you are unhappy with the work you're doing because you have a need for it to be perfect, then yeah, I have more issue with it. But I get bothered by the term perfectionism being applied in a way that it's a bad thing. So maybe, and I may feel that way mainly because, I self admit to being a perfectionist. I mean, that phrase and letting go is, and I don't mean to jump. I'm not picking on you. You just hit two of my my kind of trigger words of what's being battered around a lot today is that letting go kind of thing. It's like, it's okay to hang on. So if kind of just letting go of that is works for you, great. But it's like for some of us, kind of like to hang on to a little bit of that control thing. So it's like, those are just two of my little triggery points. So put her there. Let's see. I need something kind of folded over the top of her little thing. A little bit of lacy stuff. Covered over her head too much. So let's do that. Yeah, the other trigger word that I have from all the way, that didn't taste it very well, back in high school is somebody called something I did cute. And I was trying to be a serious artist. And so somebody called something cute, and that's another one of my trigger words. So yeah. If it's not supposed to intended to be cute, please don't call it cute. So there. So I just popped that little bit of, just a little bit of lace on there. Am I in the camera? I can't. There we go. Just a little lace to bring in some of that little pinky tone. But as you know, those of you who've been around, I get on my little soapbox things, and I forgot to ink the edges. I get on my little soapbox platform. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back. If you paint on the medium gel on the bottom and the top of what you're doing, it reduces wrinkles. It helps reduce wrinkles. It also kind of gives it kind of becomes one with the paper, so to speak, by using the matte medium. I apologize. I should have explained that. So I use the matte medium, and then I put it down first and then laid it on there. When you're using thin things like tissue and stuff like that, then I put the matte medium over the top. And I prefer a matte medium. It comes in gloss and satin as well, but I like the matte stuff. It's much more workable if I want to do something else on top of it. And it is also it just gives a matte finish, kind of like the paper finish. It's less obvious if it's glossy, like matte medium or gloss medium is very similar to things like decoupage and that kind of thing, but that has much more of a gloss to it. So with a gloss, many times it'll show brush marks and just has a sheen to it that I don't personally prefer. Some people do. So by all means, if you like, excuse me, I got the burples. By all means, then you can use that. But I do like using the matte medium. But it also, it's not really adhered until it's like dried, fully. So sometimes I will use glue, because the quick dry type glue that I've been using for a million years, it does kind of attach a little bit faster than the matte medium does. The matte medium dries very quickly, and it dries even faster when you use your heat tool to dry it a little bit more. So there, that just is, I've just added, just randomly put some stuff on there just to make a little focal point in the page. So, we got a little pocket on this side. Then we got this little focal piece on this side. We can add some little DDoS scribbles and stuff like that. So I kind of want that energy color in. So we can use the distress crayons. I'm totally into Posca pens right now too. And just to do, just, many times, especially if I'm just going to scribble, hold it way out at the end and just don't, this is where trying to not keep it under control other than slight direction. So you can do stuff like that just to give some, other kind of feel into it. And then maybe I'm going to put some little dots just to bring some of that color in. Maybe down here too. And let's just pop in some little bit of bits and pieces of color and some just little marks that you make, things like that. So let me read again. Yeah, that, as Alexa, that is an issue that I'm sure happens. Alexa lives in Florida, where it can be often quite humid and hot. And then the gel mediums and stuff, they can get quite sticky even when they're dry. And I know a lot of people have problems, like in a book, if it gets squished really tight together, so like, if I pull out, here's one of my art journal books, and, pages get all crumpled and crumpled, but I also know that some of them, you can hear it some of them that have a lot of acrylic or medium and stuff on them. Of course, none of them are going to, you heard that one. See that one? You heard that crackle where they stick together. Let's see if I have a page. Of course, this one's not going to have anything sticks together. Of course not, because it's not sticky today. So, those didn't stick together. Let's see. This one also has some pages that stick. But I do know that even when they're dry, things can get stuck together. I don't know if you can hear that. Here, like they stick together a little bit. Oh, come on. There's got to be one of these in here. Oh, there. See that one? They get kind of stuck together sometimes when you've got either gel medium or some dimensional stuff on them. The pages can get stuck together. So some people put tissue in between pages. Like this one gets stuck together a lot. That's why I have a piece of paper in there, because the two sides tend to get stuck. So I keep a piece of paper in there. But but I do know that can be an issue. It's the same with the glues, as I've talked about over the years. Stuff that I would always use Joy as an example. She's in Hawaii, and didn't make contact with her on this. Her husband was having some health issues, and I just haven't honestly had much of a chat with her, and I hope she's doing well. But those of you in warm, humid climates have different experience with glues and adhesives, which I consider gel mediums in that same category as glues and adhesives, is that they react differently in different climate conditions. And that's why over the years, I have repeatedly told everyone to experiment a bit to find out what works for you. For instance, this glue works great for me here in the Pacific Northwest, but somebody in like Florida or even Arizona, where it's dry heat, may have issues with the same products that I use in the Pacific Northwest if you try to use those same things there in your climate. So when it comes to things like glues and adhesives, you really have to experiment with what works for you, for your climate, and what works for you as a product. One of the things with matte medium too is I'm going to be putting it into one of just a squeeze bottle for when I need a little bit more detailed type of gluing. And I've tried this with the glue and it just ended up trying it and getting it. It was a mess. So the matte medium is a little bit more fluid than the glues are. So I want to put some into, I have it sitting out to do that. And I just haven't yet. But you need to experiment to find out what works. Also, I like to use the golden, but you may find that Liquitex works better for you, or Michael's brand works better for you. So unfortunately, it's a bit of trial and error and experimentation as to what works best for what you want it to use it for and your climate conditions. So so you need to, kind of experiment and play a little bit to figure out just what kind of things may work best for you. So one of the things too, when I am working in a journal, because there's so many pages, that I tend to do is I don't go in very chronological, I don't go start with this page and then work way through it until I get to this page. I tend to bounce around a little bit more, because one of the things I find, especially if I'm using like something like what I'm using here with these cut aparts in the paper, is everything will all be heavily on with these papers and things in the front part of it. And then as I get to the last signature, it starts thinning out, because it's like, oh my God, I'm almost done. Or I'm running out. So I tend to find that I put things like the pattern papers and that sort of thing tend to be thinner in the last one versus the first ones. Especially this where they're fixed in. My primary journaling binding up till doing these has been where it's removable. So each of the signatures are removable, so then I can put them back in any kind of order that I want. But I tend to prefer to bounce around a little bit on my pages. And so I'm not doing in a specific order, unless you're doing something that, like, let's say this was all I did, like this one. If I decided, rather than using any pattern papers in it, regardless of the fact that I've already done so, with all of these plain papers, if I wanted to turn this into an art journal where I start at the front and work my way through, which I'm going to make one of those and do that instead of using the pre-made journals, then I'll probably go through in a more chronological order. But when I'm doing stuff with this kind of thing, I like to bounce around a bit more and less in a very specific order. Does that make any sense? Well, Laura, there's no problem with that, because you can always watch the video for the part that you missed. So not a problem. I never look at it as, oh, you have to be here when I start and have to be here when I end. And you can, I have no problem with people who come in the middle. Absolutely. You never need to apologize. It's totally fine. I couldn't, I sit here for 2 hours blathering, but there's no way I could sit and listen to myself for 2 hours. So y'all are just amazeballs of doing that. So to be perfectly honest, it just kind of, to this day, even after all these years, it kind of still shocks and surprises me that you guys all still come and do this. So somebody's knocking at our door. Tucker's going to tell them all about it. So, but I don't have to go because Richard is downstairs. Okay. So I just get over saying I'm not going to go to the next page, but I want to do a little tabby thing on this one. So I can do what I, listen to what I do and not to, oh, it's Sarah's home. watch what I do rather than what I just about what I say. So I just want to make a little tab. I don't know what I'm going to put on this, but I'm just going to do a little fold over tab thingy on this page here. Oh God, Patches is going to Sarah's been up. Her boyfriend lives like way up north in Everett, so he's over an hour up north, and he just came back from Minnesota for Christmas. So she's been up there. Well, they've been doing their Christmas stuff and then New Year's. So she's been gone. And the cat's like going, "Where have you been?" I can hear her crying out there. So I was wrong. She'll probably stick her head in. I thought it was going to be Trevor. All right. So I'm just making a little fold over tab thingy on this little page. Like I said, I sit there and go, "Oh yeah, no, I don't do them in chronological order," and then proceed to do them in chronological order. So, but it just this color was just leaping out to me that it kind of tied in. So, all right, I'm going to take this little leaf and cut him out. That's a cut apart. I mean, that's the one disadvantage of something like this where you got to cut them out yourself. But this one at least has a color background, and then leaves a white gap around it. So you could cut it right close to it, which I never do, or you can cut it at the edge of the white gap. But you can also, depending on what paper you're using, you might have die cuts in yours. And so you can do that sort of thing. Well, I didn't think she'd be home till later, so. A live stream is like you're here in my home. Yeah. No, you're just like here, all the craziness. So, as I said, there's stuff going on years past, in the worst of times, where I would have my finger on the kill button for the stream. If, we were going through some stuff that day, just in case. It's one of my favorite little yarns. I'm running low on it. I used it on the cover here for a better hair, so I'm going to put a little piece in there too. I've been using that one a lot. So. Pop a little glue underneath there. Take the cap out of my mouth so I can talk. Well, there we go. See, and now this gives me a space there that I could do. I mean, it's obviously over written words, but I can put like a quote there. But the other thing that I can do to make it to where I can use it that way is, I'm so pleased with myself. Is one of the things you can always tell how much of a creative black hole I'm in by how tidy my studio is. Because one of the things that I do to kind of try to get myself back on the track is straightening out my studio and organizing, because it's never really been very organized. So when I have a tidy studio, that means my creative stuff is going, yeah, not today. So I just do a kind of a wash with a light paint over the top of it. And that way, if I want to write something on the top of it, you can still see that it's a vintage piece of book paper. But then just doing a kind of a wash over it, then I can write on top of it. And it becomes background. So see there. It becomes, because I'm catching glare on while I'm drying it. Okay, that was too much wash and not enough oomph to it. So that just went to nothingness. So we'll put a little bit more on there. I was worried that I was going to make it opaque and it's too transparent. So. And if you prefer this to be a perfect square or something, do that. I think my biggest thing on all of this is just giving y'all permission that if you want to be perfectionist, be perfectionist. If you want to be not perfectionist, that's okay. So that's my point in all of this whole discussion about perfectionism versus messy and tidy and all of that. It's okay. I'm giving people permission who want to be a perfectionist. It's okay to be a perfectionist, and those who want to be messy, be messy. It's totally cool. All right, so I'm going to just say I can do 2 facing pages, but I'm not going to flip and do this side of it. I'll flip to another page, but just do this in like facing pages. How's that sound? Does that sound better than I'm just following along chronologically? So now I finally got my stamps all moved to where they're back behind me now so that I can do something like stamp. And I got a ton of ink. Because they've been over by my door a little bit. So finally having my stamps right by where I work. One of my big things is I want to take my stamp and I want to do a stamp book where Lord, this could take years to do. But I want to do stamps of I want to do sample stamps, kind of like, when you do a sample thing of paints and stuff. I want to do that with all my stamps so that I can see what all I have. So, but, oh Lord, that could take, I either have to go in a really bad type of black hole, or it's going to just take a million years. So I need something a little bit more. It's not really good. What's a little bit more stable to put underneath? Here, I've got some pages cut here. We'll take a couple of these. This is some heavy watercolor paper. I just need something stable underneath there. And, ink your stamp your ink. So. And this way I'm doing this with archival ink, which means it's waterproof and permanent, versus like distress inks, which are not. I'm not the world's greatest stamper. It's not my strength. I admit it. But that way, by using a permanent ink of something you don't want to smear, that way you can still do wet stuff on top of it, and it won't smear once it's dry. It'll smear when it's still wet, but once it's dry. But if you don't believe in magic, you will never find it. So, and since I posted last night, right around midnight, on my Instagram, which is, by the way, for those of you, I talk about Instagram because that's the main place where I post work, is on my Instagram versus on my but yeah, see, I posted this and suddenly it's time to start something new and trust in the magic of new beginnings. I saw that, and that was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of right now. And so posting that seemed last night, and so then this pulling the door open, that was the first one I saw, and so I'm just drawing some cute little flowers, just little scribbly flowers. where's the black stuff? Black pen. Okay, that's just eating right through this book paper. So do more. I want that yellow to show a little bit more in the centers. So now that it's dry. Well, it doesn't want to show, but that's fine. To the crayon, maybe. Do that. Okay. And then I want some splatter. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I still do whatever I want to do. I still do that sort of thing. Let's use this. And then I just keep some lightweight chipboard, always handy to set, but it's kind of warped because it gets wet, but I set that underneath so I have something underneath to protect other parts of the book that I maybe don't want to splatter on. So just get some paint on, get a little more water on it, and then boop, 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 boop. Flick, 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 flick. So. It sometimes will flick in places where, like, it'll flick a foot away, and I never understand that. Oh, come on. Flick on there. There's plenty of paint. Oops, see. I just love doing little flicks. I don't know where it's flicking to. Where is it all going? Because it's popping off the brush, but it's not going onto my paper. Sometimes it's the angle. There it goes. All right. A little bit. But then I want some black on there too. So in the liquidy stuff, when the just acrylic paint doesn't work, I'm going for the more flowy stuff. That way I get some good stuff on there. Oh, come on. Y'all are bad luck. My flick's not going. There we go. I love doing flick splatters. It makes my heart happy. So we got those. Let me get the try. Oh, long things to read. When you touch the table, it booms your mic. Okay, well, here, let me set the mic on top of it. There, I've set the mic on top of my mouse pad. Maybe that'll help. Sorry about that. Oh, Lois, I'm so happy for you. Get this all dried up because I can't close it till it's dry. So we got to sit here and let it dry. So, I mean, one of the things I do love about a good junk journal like this is that having different sizes of pages, I think it just makes it's so fun. Like here, this is a spread, but this one being smaller than this one, I find it fun. There's one big fat splop that just doesn't want to dry. So hang in there for me for a minute, people. And then I get impatient, so I use something to mop it up. It's not really wet still. Yeah, that'll work. It's kind of, it's toasty. But anyway, but by doing that, so yeah, that just makes a cute little page. All right, so then we're going to move in a little bit further to something a little different. Let's go to this one. So I have this. This is, I could turn it that way, but then everything's sideways, and it's a little, but it's a V. Well, there's all my splatters. Hey, I found them. Oh, that's on that paper. So, but it's got a couple of black splatters on. But I'm going to take this, and I'm going to fold it in half-ish. It's not perfectly in half, but ish. So do that, and then I think because I want these nice and straight, I'm going to whip out my scoreboard for this one to do these fold lines. So I'm just lining up the fold on the scoreboard itself to score those, to make these little pockets. Okay, and then at where I folded this, at my little fold line, I'm going to notch that. All right, so I'm going to notch this a little deeper at these corners so that they're not triple thick. So then, because this was too big for the size book that I'm making, but folding it in half and wrapping it, I don't like it on that one. We'll do it on this one. I like it on the yellow. So I can then wrap it around so it puts a pocket in both the front and the back. And then I can slip something into that pocket on both the front and the back. So cute. Yeah, I am. Alexa, I'm also, I think somebody has already said something already, but, and I am sorry that you have lost your grandmother. But I wholeheartely agree. Having your grandparents living close when you're growing up, even as an adult, I think I know I'm forever grateful that my children got to grow up with grandparents on both sides around them for much of their lives. I probably saw my paternal grandparents half a dozen times in my lifetime because they were in Chicago and we were in Alaska or wherever it is, especially earlier on in when my dad was still military, we didn't see them that often. My grandfather visited us. My mother's father would visit us wherever we were, and he would, especially towards the end of his life, he would live with us. Like since he lived with my aunt, he would come live with us for 3 or 4 months out of the year to give her some time off from it. And but I relish all those memories I have with my grandfather when he was with us. But as I said, my paternal grandparents, I didn't see that often. But I do love for my children to have had both, my husband's parents. I mean, especially when we still lived in West Seattle, near them, they would see them, not quite daily, but pretty darn close to that. And then having my mom, when they were little, she would be down here visiting frequently. And then when, as they, once she moved down here, she would see them. She lived less than a mile away. So the incredible bouncing watercolors. Ooh, I'm going to use the sparkly ones. Oh, nope, those aren't the sparkly ones. Holy cow, those are the fluorescent ones. What are the sparkly ones? That's what I was anticipating. It was just like, whoa, those were the fluorescent ones. So I want to, because this is kind of got this fairy magic thing going on, I'm going to add some. I probably should move all this up and not have it right by my water where it can get all messed up. Clean water. Let's go for the green. Just throw a little green along the edge. And the first child, adult child, pops in. Okay, so yeah. If they don't pop in literally, they come in electronically. So and I'm just putting a little edging on there. Little pinky stuff in there. Kind of give that rusty feel. I mean, and if it gives you your heart palpitations to do it kind of haphazard, then don't. You can do something real tidy along the edge too. I'm holding this up so that I don't get too much onto other pages, but you know what? If I do, it's okay. And I'm going to do a couple clickies. And if it gets on the other ones, it's okay. All right, so now these are fine tech metallic or pearlescent watercolors, and they're fun for doing stuff like this. See, I got a little ink down there. Do what I told you that I do. Debbie. Okay, what time is it? She's in Australia. What time is it, Debbie? There right now. You're already on the 2nd of January, aren't you? But Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us. I don't know. See, this is getting me all incentivized to start doing this again, maybe like once a month or something. We'll see. Getting to see all of you all is so much fun. One of the things too that I have coming up with this new platform by doing this teaching on this Podia is that it does have a platform within it that I'm going to use that has sorry, my brain is looking at the same time I'm doing this. It does have a platform for a. Okay, let me just find this because otherwise my mouth will just keep skittering over what I'm trying to say. There's a platform that we can use for doing community type thing, to where it's like a Facebook page, but it's not a Facebook. So it'll be a paper doodles kind of thing, but without the same. I have my issues with the Facebook thing, in that I don't like to push it onto people when they gather information about you and I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not on Facebook very often. As I said, I mainly go on Instagram. Well, yes, I understand that it's under the same umbrella company, but I'm just a little more comfortable over on Instagram than I am on Facebook. And I also have my feed carefully curated. I don't follow anything other than arts and craft type stuff over on Instagram. I don't. And if people start getting political and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I still post politics and stuff like that on Facebook, but I just don't go on Facebook very often anymore. And so I'm crinkling my edges a little bit. And I've cut just basically a piece to go underneath this pocket. But I post most of my work over on, if you see it on Facebook on my business page, it's because it's linked from Instagram. I don't do everything that way. It's just stuff that I know that people who don't go on Instagram do see it over on Facebook. So if you're wondering why do I never post anything over on Facebook anymore, because that's why. But with this, that's going to get covered over this, so those can flatten out. But with this Podia, I can set up it's like a group page type of thing. I can set it up for the different courses, and then I can also have a general one that's open to the public. The ones for the courses would be only open to those people who are in those courses. But I do have the ones where it's in. I can do a public one, and I will be setting that up. I'll be announcing it in places as well, to where then people can gather there and chat and stuff, just like our old paper doodles. And it's private. You have to get accepted into it. So it's much like how we had on paper doodles on Facebook, but it'll be on the Podia site, which is my teaching platform site. So you'll be able to go there and interact and share stuff and things like that. It's going to have the same rules as paper doodles, to where it's like, I ask that you please limit your sharing to stuff that is created from my tutorials and that sort of thing. Or if you're wanting to show some of your original stuff without necessarily coming in purely for the desire to promote it and send people to someplace else in order to get to your stuff. That's not what it's about. It's more about being able for people being able to share. So anyway, that's what that is going to be for, and I'm trying to get that launched here in the next couple of weeks. But that will give people a place, since paper doodles, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to pull it down with Facebook. Now, I'm not going to attach this back one yet till I decide what I'm doing on this back side. So I'm That's why I went with tape on this one, because it's on the tabs. So I'm going to leave the tape on the back side so that I can lift it up and put something under it when I get to that one. But I can attach this down. Now I'm just going to attach this down kind of in an L shape. So not only do I have a pocket here, but then this is a little tuck spot back behind it. So, but yeah, in order to remove a group, I have to delete each person within the group. And we have like 5,000 or 6,000 in that group. And then delete it. But then and actually Joy is the one who originally set it up. So she's technically the owner of it. So then I have to have her actually remove it. So, and so the amount of time it's going to take to delete each of those individual people off the group. So it's just not quote unquote discoverable on Facebook right now. You have to be going there specifically. So, and that's just how it's set for right now. So, but see, then I can have a little tag back behind it. And then I can also use, well, it's not a tag, but I can put a tag inside that little pocket as well. So, but it needs some zhuzhing, some little zhuzhing. So anyway, but coming up as I'm kind of over the course of 2021 and 22, I kind of have gone back and revisited a lot of old stuff. And I don't mean just paper crafting. I've gone back. I did a painting, a canvas for Sarah for Christmas. I haven't painted on a canvas since 1985. So that was fun to do, but revisiting some of my old stuff is because I've been struggling trying to find just kind of what path do I want to go forward. The albums just, and not the kits, no, just not my thing these days. And so, just trying to find, and I love doing this, but I need something not just this kind of thing. And I still love to do the 3D stuff, and I will continue to do, but I feel like I'm kind of like directionless to a certain extent. So I'm getting back into my quilting stuff, and I will be doing, I also, did some dolls and stuff this past year. And so I'm trying to get back into doing some of that. I've been learning to weave, which is something I've wanted to do since I was in school. In California years ago. And I'm also learning how to spin. So you never know what you might see in my shop. So I'm learning how to spin yarn. And I have a new thing that I got for Christmas to make, fat and juicy artsy fartsy yarns that I just, because I love using things like fibers and stuff in my stuff. And so I'm kind of branching out. So I'm going to be doing, if you're at all into quilting or anything like that, I am going to be starting to do some of my quilted purses and bags, which is what I did before I started in paper crafting. And I kind of had to just kind of completely turn my back on all of that with Trevor's diagnosis and stuff. And so I'm now kind of retouching my quilting again. But I don't want to go back into quilts. I'm not going back there. But my quilted bags and purses, but incorporating some of my mixed media stuff in them as well. So I'm kind of really stoked with the idea of that. And so moving in that direction a little bit. So you'll see some of that kind of stuff on my teaching platform as I will be doing not just paper crafting, but some other stuff as well. So it's going to be fun to do that. So The dolls were a blast because one of the way back when I was in high school and stuff, I made dolls and teddy bears and would sell them. My mom worked for a dentist, and the dentist loved having them in the office, and then people could purchase them. It was a screaming good deal for me. So, and then I put this little thing on that's got some stripes. It's got lines on it, so I could make a little journal note thing kind of on there. So that was kind of one of my go back in time kind of things. And I think I was more a case of just trying to remind myself of why I do a lot of what I do, is kind of retouching those cornerstones from the past, just to try to help pull myself out of where I was. So, so it was fun doing the dolls again. And so, do some more of those. And then incorporating some fun mixed media stuff into them as well. So as Pam and I have talked about, is, I don't focus quite like so many other people who teach and stuff these days. Is I don't focus on just like one thing. Like I only do, journals. I don't. But then that's just not me. I love doing stuff with the fiber. I love doing stuff with the yarn. I crochet. I'm starting to knit again a little bit, because that's the kind of thing that I can pick up and do for half an hour, but right before I go to bed or something like that. This is not something that I would spend an entire day knitting and ignore things that I have to get done. But having this variety of things like the fibers and the quilting stuff and doing the painting. And I had so much fun painting on a canvas. I haven't done that, like I said, 1985. But, touching my sewing, do my dolls, doing my 3D projects, which I still want to do, all of those are elements of what makes me, me, just like what you all guys do is what makes you all you. And when I ignore pieces and parts of me, I think that's been part of my issue. So I had to so dramatically turn my back on my quilting when I did. So by kind of revisiting it, it's been good. So like I said, I talk too much. I share too much. I overshare. I talk too much. I always have. So you guys all know way too much more about me than I should be sharing. But Star, it's been forever since I've done one. So it's been way long time since I've done anything on the live. So it's fun to kind of see everybody again. Yeah, I think like maybe once a month or something like that. I mean, I'm not going to commit to anything right now. But like once a month, we'll try maybe to do a live or something like that. Yeah, if you liked my wave, which was my most popular ever pattern of my bags and stuff, I've got some new ones that are along that line, and I'm doing a smaller crossbody type of wave one. But that's my best. So I still sell that one. I still get wholesale orders for the wave tote, person tote. So and I'm debating as to whether I want to put them on my website or if I want to revive my Etsy. I've never killed my Etsy. I could have the kids come each bring a pet in if you want a pet parade. They're both home now, so nice back behind here where I could write something if I wanted to. I just added, just to bring a touch of that little green back in, I put a little tab behind the corner and then added a little tie on there, maybe a little bit of pinky stuff on there, and then the edging. So it's just, You know, you don't have to cover the whole page. And then on the back side, we've got the pocket back here too, but I don't know what I want to do underneath it. So we'll just leave that until I'm ready to attach it down. But now, this may not appeal to you, but maybe, you know, maybe on a page, this has got a little bit more substantial. Or let's do here's a half an envelope, so it's a pocket. But we can mat that just like we mat using some of the pattern paper. Oh, I got the burps from my Dr. Pepper. I took a sip of my Dr. Pepper, thought I could just slip it in there without y'all knowing. And then my body goes, ha, we're going to make you burp. So I can cut a mat that goes on there. And I am not allergic to measuring, but I've just become a lot more relaxed about it. But I am going to cut this one just to show that you can. But I'm not necessarily measuring it. I just marked it where I want to cut it. Now I got to find the marks. I got to catch them in the light just right. And I can't see it. Need to make a better mark. Come on, catch light. So how's the brightness on my work table? Isn't it nice having all this nice light on it now? I got a new camera setup for Christmas. A camera and lights for doing videos and such, which if you watch the video of my studio, I show it specifically, and it's all on a post thing that hooks onto my table. It's like super sweet. And this is my first time actually using it, and I'm loving it. Because it used to be I had a ring light, my phone or camera hooked up, and then the camera would get hair tied onto the thing for my phone. And then and it was on my tripod, which I had it extended as tall as it would get, and then but collapsed down, and it was bungee corded to the table leg. Well, that wouldn't. I've moved my table recently, and it needs to be in the middle of the table, not at the table leg. So I was going to have to put a whole leg on just to bungee cord that on there. And then I found this thing and showed it to my husband, and I got it for Christmas. So, and it's working awesome. And the light quality, I've got these couple of lights now on it, because I always felt sometimes that we were kind of sitting here in the dark. So. Well, journaling is not necessarily, Debbie, writing. You don't have to write. You can do art, or you can do it basically kind of like we've been doing for all these years. You can put pictures in them, or if you don't want to put pictures, you missed the first pages we did here. So this is pattern paper. It's a pocket. But then you just can put doodah stuff on here, or like we did here, you put a little quote on there, affirmations. You could jot down little things, little memory type things. But this could just as easily be a little photograph as it is this little collection of stuff. You can do art stuff in them. Where's my page? I was doing the envelope. So journaling can be for anything you want to put in it. So if you like it just doing pages, but you don't necessarily want to put pictures in them, like you do albums. I mean, if you look at some of my past books, when you really want to think about it, they weren't just photo albums. They were every bit as much as what some people are doing in journals right now. So journaling does not always mean writing. So you can do something that because you like it. If you want to make it pretty or you want to make it not pretty, that's up to you. But just putting stuff, if just creating, just doing what you want on there brings you any joy whatsoever, that's what's important. All right, I have some little pieces that I've torn off of those, that was is it in this book? Yeah, so I've got because these were too tall, these guest check things. These just tear off the top and bottom, so I've got one of those. So I'm just going to attach that on there. Now these are tea-dyed already, but I'll add a little bit more extra in there. So we can glue that. So, they can be kind of anything you want them to be. We talked a little bit about that at the beginning, so you can always go back and view that. Okay, I'm going to put this on there too. See, I will turn you all into pack rats, though, because you won't throw anything away because you want to use it for something. So yeah, I'm just making it fun and pretty. Exactly. Let's see what else. You're already a pack rat. Well, I'll make you more of one. I mean, that's like I have. Well, this is mainly just fabric and stuff. It's got some paper on it, but I can't lift the other one. But so then I've got here in this cart that I roll around, and I'm just going to grab a handful off the top. See, I've got all of this, for want of a better word, crap. But I just throw it all in there. But then it's like, oh, see, I've got this. By having it in one of these 3-tier rolling carts, then I can just move things around. But see, this got this little bit of piece from a page, a vintage page, and it's like, oh, see, that's exactly what I want. It's just that little bit. Okay, you can blame your crap room mess on me. I can take it. Trust me, I've gotten people upset at me for much less or much more. So it's fine. You can totally blame me. Tell your husband it's all my fault. That's fine. I don't care. And I got that little bitsy piece on there. So, but you could also pull out like embellishment stuff out of see, even the things from like when I've ripped a page out. And see, and I can make a little. Put that back up again, and I can just make it be a little tab then. Deborah says, I don't collect my own junk. I collect other people's junk. There you go. Yes, feel free to blame me. I'm tough stuff. I can take it. What else do I got in here? Well, let's see what other goodies we got here that I can. Yeah, see, I used one of these, but way up here. So now I'm halfway through the book, so I can do another one of these back here. So this little piece from my papers, and add that on top of it. So I've got a little collage thing, and it just looks pretty. It doesn't have to serve a purpose. It just looks pretty. So. I don't think I need that. Again, I want these to me say they want something across the top. But I don't want to cut her head off either. Yeah, that works. Now, see, I would stitch this on, but my laptop computer thingy is in front of my sewing machine. I now keep a sewing machine also. My paper sewing machine is right next to my desk, so I don't have to get up. Now I have 2 sewing machines set up, but and one of them is for my actual fabric sewing. So I'm doing that right along the edge, and then the other one is for my paper stuff because I like doing a lot of stitching on there, and it's a pain if I have to. I'm lazy. I just don't like to have to get up and move. So I'm extremely fortunate to have multiple sewing machines. I admit it, I do. I have well, let's see. Personally, I have, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 myself, and then I have 3 of my mom's. So. So I'm going to glue a little bit of this back behind it. Yeah, if it makes you happy, then it serves a purpose. Exactly. Come on, stick down. I want a piece of the fuzzy one too. I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of that one because it's my favorite. It does not want to stick with my glue. Come on. I just need a bigger blob. You're saving the planet from landfill. There you go. That's what we're saving stuff. We're saving stuff from having to go in the landfill. That's it. There we go. We're good people. We had to replace our oven and our microwave this year, given the age that our house is now. And there was some things that looked almost that were around the oven, some cardboard things. Because what I love is so much more packaging. It's less plastic, more cardboard, so it can be recycled. But it had these corners around it, and they look like shelves. And I grabbed them, and I've had them for 6 months. I finally got rid of them because I decided I wasn't going to use them. But they look like shelves, and I can make these into shelves, but I don't have any wall space, so I finally had to get rid of them. So okay, so I got that little pop of the sparkling color. And eventually I'll stick down and dry, but I'm not going to sit here and wait for it. So. One man's junk is Debbie's treasure. Yeah, that's about me too. We're all that way. So we're just saving the planet. See, there's a cute little page. Let me see. Let me grab some book pages and see if I can find a good word on them. Those are too tiny. I need a bigger paper. Okay, I know I have book pages in here. Where are they at? Okay, so you just cut little bits out of this is out of middle of a sentence. I just chopped it out. Ink. See, there we go. we were destined. So, it's just, I cut it, nice and even and tidy, and then just collage some stuff on there. And it's a pocket. And then I can do the same thing on the back side if I want, is I can do that to the back side. But, it doesn't have to be a picture. It's got a little element on there that gives it some focus. And then just a little, we're destined, and I can find something else. They're like, we were destined. No, this doesn't sound right. We were destined not to worry. That doesn't sound as good. This is from one of Sarah's old books from like 5th grade or something. So it's about mermaids. Oh, here, this one's good. Need this too from before. See, we can make these little profound comments out of a mermaid book. Yay, little green bug! Linda seems to think I somehow would not remember who she is. We're destined to know. Little green bug hasn't been around in a very long time, but we remember you, sweetheart. This will remain on my YouTube channel for sure. Yes. I know on my channel for it's under the lives, but I'm not sure if somebody viewing it sees it mixed in with all the other ones, or if it's just, I'm also going to download it off of YouTube here, and I will put it, for those of you who bought the tutorial, I'll also post it there so that you can watch it in its entirety there. So there. So now I made a profound little statement. Destined to know all you need to know. See, so you can turn it into just, you could put a photo on there if you wanted to, but you can also just, it doesn't have to serve a purpose other than that you enjoyed doing it. But when you have a full book, these are all fun to go through and see all the stuff in there. But like I said, I like to do the little bit of bouncing around. So the next pages I'll probably do back here in this signature and then back in this signature and bounce it around a little bit. I find that it helps me to sprinkle when I'm using a paper collection. It helps me to sprinkle it through so that it's not all heavily loaded at the front and sparse in the back. Party in the front, whatever, mullets were like what? It's something in party in the back, something in the front, party in the back. Well, it's not the opposite and just too much in the front and next to nothing in the back. So, okay, so Quilty 56, your angel bug 56. Got it. All right. Now I know who you are. Okay. Yeah, when people have different names and stuff. So anyway, so I think that's all we're going to do. And we're running up. It's 3:15. I was going to try to do the cover on that other one, but I think I talked too much. But it kind of gives you an idea. This one I've used a little small book cover, but you can make your own cover. All of my videos are still, my YouTube videos are still on YouTube, but all of my videos from past live shows and stuff like that are all still free to view on my website under the video archives tab, and will remain there as long as I have that website. Not planning to do anything with those, move them. There's still some that are missing that we had on the calendar that didn't get, and I still have to put those on. I just need, 96-hour days for a month or two and get everything all the way it needs to be settled down to be. But all of those videos are still over on my, there's over a terabyte of videos that I keep still over on my website. And then the videos that are on YouTube, all of the lives that I've done in the past few years, which aren't many, are still there. And this one will still be on YouTube for you to view. And I will, as I said, I will download it and put it over onto my Podia, I don't know what it is, Podia platform with the tutorial for this, for those of you. Oh, good Lord, Pamela, do you have to bring that up? I love going back to see Laura before she used a hair straightener. Yeah. So anyway, now you just don't even have to see me at all. It's still red though. See, still red. Well, it's actually gray, but I keep it red. So anyway, Howard, Trevor, and Sarah, Little Green Bag asks, they are 22 and 24 now. They're adults. So Sarah just got home. She was out. They're both still home, both in college, doing well. But yeah, no, this has been tons of fun. I'm going to put these guys in there, but I'm going to fold them. So they make a tidy fold and not just but yeah, they're both in school, so then these become more like tickets. So we'll just fill our little pocket up, and then as we wrap up here. But yeah, no, this has been fun doing this. I don't think I want to go back to doing it 3 times a week again, or even have the hardcore schedule of weekly. But I definitely could see doing this at least once a month, and we'll go from there, see how it works out. I don't know, what is the best day of the week to do it for people? I mean, I'm kind of, now that, kids are all grown and stuff, and my husband now he's retired, so as a month ago. So I would consider back to doing, one Friday a month or something like that. Because I like the Friday evenings. That always seemed to work for a lot of people. So I haven't heard from Joy in quite a while, so I'm not really sure how she's doing. I know her husband was having some health issues one of the last times I talked to her, but I haven't had much success in getting a hold of her of late. So I wish I could give better report on that, but I'm not really terribly sure. So any day, but this timeline is great for you. So in my afternoon, so it's like 3:20 on the 1st here right now. But we used to do, in the very beginning we did late, but like 4 to 6 on Fridays, 3 to 5, something like that. Yay, Sophie! Yeah, we're just wrapping up. But you go back and watch the video. Tuesday and Wednesday are bad for Jeannie. Okay, well, it would be Friday or Saturdays is my running around and doing stuff day. But Fridays and Sundays, we used to do Fridays and Sundays. Fridays or Sundays would probably be the most likely days. Just because, the Friday evening or the Saturdays, because we also don't have hockey and stuff the way we used to. So, yeah. So chances are greatest for it to be one Friday a month, Friday evening a month, Friday late afternoon, early evening type thing. So, that's probably, kind of thing of what we will do. So, but well, I'll keep working on this slowly but surely, and I got to get the caught up for the my every trick in the book, which is basically what my every trick in the book is it's an outrageous number of videos that are in there. I go over all sorts of materials for creating books, all the different kinds of papers. Oh, that's one thing I want to talk about real quick before we go to, but different kinds of papers, all the different, things like the mediums and gels and all the different kinds of, pens and crayons and all that stuff that you see me reaching for today. That is all over on that. And then over the course of, it's a 6-month long course for the quote unquote, it's not really live, but each week, other than the past month, I've gotten behind. But each week I put up more stuff where we're doing things like pockets or different ways of doing tuck spots or different ways of doing tags and different ways of doing, and I'm doing 3 books during the course of it, with each with a slightly different style to them. And it's using my my removable binding method. I'm just trying to see if I can grab one of them somewhat quickly. Meanwhile, I've got my cart rolled up next to me, so I can't really see it. Well, one of the books this is disassembled right now, but one of the books is it's got a mixture of pages. So these are some pages and then some signatures. Signatures is a word that does not want to stick. It's a cool different binding, but you can't see it because it's all unassembled at the moment. Where's that one page? So that one is done. So one of the pages, that one's done in a more traditional method to where, I'm matting things and such. So then this has got some little bit of stuff inside of it. But it's a little bit more traditional. It's got some little tuck spots in it. And then, here's the other book. Oh, no, that's not that one. That's a different one. Let's see it with being able to remove the signatures. Like, for instance, this one there, it's got a little tuck pocket, not dissimilar to what we're doing today, along those same lines. So this is one of the signatures, and I show different things of what you can add into a book to. So it's called Every Trick in the Book. And by the end of the 6 months, it's turning into a lot more videos than I anticipated. It's only $45 for the 6 months, or you can pay monthly. But at this point, the pay monthly is not an option that's available any longer. But you can go through, just the start. I'm trying to think, Pam, would you say probably, so far we probably got almost 20 hours worth of videos in there. As we're going through all of these, as I said, I've got several weeks to get caught up on because of the whole Teachable thing flap causing me all sorts of issues. But we're getting there, and I will get the videos. I've got some of them done, and I just need to get them all posted and edited and posted because I've had to learn how to edit videos too. That's been woo. But get all that stuff in. And that will be a comprehensive course that is available, will be available forever. It's just that I started it, let's see, it's October, November, December, January, February, March. So it'll be finishing up at the end of March. But all the stuff is there, and you can go through at your own pace. And I'm not going to do one of these spread out over 6 months again, because I'm finding that's not working. I would have been better off just doing everything all up front in the very beginning and have it all available. People can go through it at their own pace. Also tied in with that, as I have the subscriptions for my digital paper. So each month there's a digital paper that comes out, so people can either purchase just the course or the course with the paper. So if somebody were to purchase the course with the papers, and I think it's 90, and you get 6 different paper collections to go, which you can use in your books, or you can just, because I had a subscription for papers on my Patreon and then decided the Patreon thing was not working for me. So I decided to do this, but I needed someplace to transfer those subscriptions to. By the end of March, whether I'm going to continue with my monthly digital papers, not sure. But I have a whole bunch of all of those Patreon ones. A portion of them are up on my website now. I still have more to put up over on the website of these paper collections. They're not full, heavy-duty, hardcore, full-blown paper collections. They're a little bit more like mini collections. And I put them up for sale. They're all 20% off. I did that in October, and I just haven't taken the 20% off. So scream a deal right now is you can get those all on sale. But all of the ones that I had available only on Patreon are now, most of them are on the website, but I still have some that still need to get put up there. So I have, like I said, I have the every trick in the book, which if you liked what we were doing today, that's what that is kind of about. And then I also have a free class that it's currently unteachable, but later today I'm moving it over onto Podia. It's a free class with paper bags. Let me show that one really super fast. Come on, cart, roll. And I did this one as a free class for everybody, to where it's a different way of using. This is all with a paper bag. So in the paper bags all have little tags. These are little slide tags that I put in these pockets. And then they also have other little tags that fit inside the pockets. So and this is something that maybe we could start doing on a once a month class, is start doing, we can do these little collage tags that fit into a paper bag book like this. I mean, I have some ideas for more paper bag books that I want to do. And then these also have little tags that have all sorts of little gratitude quotes that fit into these little tiny pockets. Gratitude and thankfulness, because I did this right around Thanksgiving. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be photos. You can put little art bits and pieces in here and such. So this little one is one bag, and this is all made from one bag, one paper bag, to make this little tiny book. If you use a shopping size bag, it makes a bigger book. So, but yeah, so you can go to, it's Laura Denison Designs .podia, PODIA.com, which is then that's where all my teaching platform will be for doing video tutorial type classes and stuff. I probably will be moving some of the video tutorial stuff onto Podia. I just have to figure out how. I probably, in order to get people who've already purchased those, get it available to them, I probably would have to send them a coupon to be able to sign up for free, because they've already paid for it. But I haven't decided whether I want to do that or not. Those may just stay on my website, and then in the future. And I'm going to have a link on my website that goes directly to Podia so that you don't have to go type it all in, but I just haven't gotten that far just yet. But I'm liking that platform for doing the, rather than just on my website, because I can also do what's called drip ins, to where, like I'm doing with every trick in the book, to where each week something new comes out for it. So I'm in this real bit right now especially when it comes to some of the online teaching. Is the big thing right now is these huge groups where you have like 5 to 10 teachers. Sometimes they're year-long courses, sometimes they're not, but it's hard as a one-man show here to compete against these huge groups of big name teachers all teaching all together and breaking into those. It's kind of like high school cliques. So breaking in to be able to teach on any of those is a challenge as well. And so it's the competition to get your attention is greater than it used to be. So I did promise somebody that before we go, I want to talk a little bit about this because I use this for my binding on both of these books. This is a paper I was familiar with when I was an architect. This is a roofing paper, and it's a composite fibrous type of paper where there's all sorts of fibers in it. It almost feels a little almost oily. It's not smelly per se, but it tears. But it's also super strong and really flexible. It does have some markings on the backside of it, but it comes in a roll about this big around. So it's like 50 yards of the stuff at the hardware store by like 36 inches wide because it's used for construction stuff. So I don't know how many other people would want to go out and buy an entire roll of this stuff, but I will have it. I will make some packets of it, and they'll be like 36 inches wide by foot tall. And then I fold them slightly. It's a soft fold, so it's not a hard crease. And those of you who are in my Patreon group before got some of these. But I will probably put some of these up on my website in the next week or so. I love this stuff. It's so cool. It's a little heavier than lightweight chipboard, but not as heavy as heavy chipboard. I love the dark color. It takes pretty much any media that's out there. Anything will work on it. I've tried paints. Everything seems to work on it. It's cool stuff. And it's just different. It's like rice paper on steroids in terms of the texture of it and such. It's just cool stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's just used on roofs before they put like roofing tile stuff down, before they put the roof tiles down. So like I said, it comes in the quantity. It's like you'd have to use it every day on everything in your lifetime to use up an entire roll. So I don't know how many people would want to go out and buy the roll of it. Yeah, it's like tar paper for roofs. Exactly. It's not technically tar paper. What was called tar paper actually was tar infused, but now it's these days it's not necessarily got the same stuff in it. But it's cool stuff. But I did tell somebody I would talk a little bit more about the roofing paper that I use. So, but if you probably went into the hardware store and asked them, they would. There's also a lighter weight stuff as well, and I'm trying to remember. I think I want to say this is like 40 pounds, but it could be 15 for all I recall. But there's a lighter weight one that's a paper, and I probably would put them in a pack together. But I get that and those two weights of that stuff, and I get a big roll of. It's a really nice weight of craft paper, and then I get like the paper that I used on this one page here. That's the painting type paper. There's all sorts of stuff you can get at the hardware store. You can paint on it. You absolutely, you totally can paint on it. I'm trying to think of where something is that I have that I paint on that. But yeah, no, you can paint on it. You can paint on it. You can marker on it. See my, and these are paint markers. So, but yeah, no, it takes it. It takes wet. It takes the dry stuff. It's cool stuff. And then I love that it's just like this deep dark chocolatey brown. But yeah, no, I had told somebody that I would tell them what it was. while we're in class. So I did. I followed up. So, anyways, alrighty, guys. It's been fun. I wish I could switch cameras and talk to you, so you're not just talking to my hands the whole time. Especially because I don't keep my nails up or anything like that. Yeah, the mesh that you mud your walls with when you're putting up drywall. Yep, that's cool stuff too. Alrighty, guys. So this has been a blast, and in the moment, I always say, "Oh yeah, I want to do this," but then I think about it later, and because my brain just works that way anymore. But I think once a month is something that's very doable. So yeah. But yeah, in terms of this paper, I'll get some of that stuff, but it's really cheap stuff. So, but the only problem is the shipping and I thought, oh God, shipping and me do not. It's not. I'm not even going there. But we'll figure it out. So anyway, it was absolutely a blast to see so many of you, especially people like Little Green Bug that I haven't seen in like forever. And so and appreciate people, like Lois and Quilty, who used to be Angel Bug, and Squishy's Corner. Who are you again? Anyway, Alexa, all of you guys who over the years been around. I just want to tell you how much I so appreciate all of you, and for all of you being around and supporting me over the years. It's that's what's kept me moving forward through so much of this, as difficult as it has been in the last couple of years. I just needed to rebuild myself in order to be back. And so I just want you all to know how much I do appreciate you, how much I haven't forgotten any of you. And moving forward, we're going to do some stuff. Maybe not quite at the pace we used to, but we'll do some stuff, and we're going to have a blast. And I just miss y'all. And it's been fun for today, and it gives a nice positive start for the new year coming. So, and I just appreciate it. And I thank you all, and we'll see you on the next time. Feel free to drop in and check out my Instagram. And I will be posting on, I'll post over on Facebook, and I'm also be doing a newsletter. If you've signed into Podia, you can sign up for the newsletter, but I will also be merging my MailChimp newsletter, which I haven't done that many of. I will be merging my MailChimp in with my Podia, so it all goes out through the Podia thing. And it's more like almost like a blog post type thing, but you get it in your email. And that's one of my resolutions, so to speak, is I want to start sharing more via that method. With the things that have happened with the way Facebook has gone, and oh God, Twitter is just crazy place. With these social medias, I don't want to be so reliant on them because you never know when they're going to go haywire on you, or they start doing things that you're not comfortable with. So I want to start. It's almost like going back to a blog, like the early days when I first started. Blogs were the thing. So I want to start using that more. In case I get annoyed with Instagram too. But you can pop into Instagram, sign up for that newsletter. As I said, I'm going to try to do that more like not bi-weekly, bi-monthly. And then maybe more frequently, but start sharing, in those kind of places and stuff. So make sure you get signed up for that. And again, my Podia is Laura Denison Designs. Denison is with one N. .podia, PODIA.com. Not much there. The only thing there is this class so far. But I'm slowly going to get more stuff there in there. So anyway, absolutely. Please, everybody have a very happy new year, safe new year. Take care of yourselves. As women, we do tend to be the people who take care of everybody else and not ourselves. And I've learned that very much the hard way. So take care of you. Take some time for yourself. Do you hear me, Pam? Take some time for you. And just know that you guys mean the world to me, and you have, and you always will. And I appreciate it. So I'm just going to say, peace out. Love you guys all bunches. Bye for now.